So notes today are 6.1. We're going to learn about the law of sines. So in this section, we're going to solve oblique triangles, which are triangles that have no right angles. So a lot of people in the last class asked, why can't I just do Pythagorean theorem? Because Pythagorean theorem only works if you have a right triangle. So we're dealing with triangles that have no right angles. Our sides, so we have 3 sides of a triangle and 3 angles of a triangle. Angles are measured by capital letters, angles, and sides are lowercase letters. And each angle corresponds to the same letter as what it's opposite to. So angle A is opposite of side A. Angle C is opposite of side C. And angle B is opposite of side B. To solve an oblique triangle, you need to know the measure of at least one side and the measure of any 2 other parts of the triangle. So it'll give us 3 pieces of information, and we'll have to find the other 3 missing. So it could either give us 2 sides and 1 angle, 2 angles, 1 side, and we'll find the missing parts. So we do that using this formula, which is our law of sines. So law of sines is a proportion. The sides are on the top, the angles are on the bottom, and we're taking the sine of each angle. So we can set up a proportion. A over sine of A is equal to B over sine of B. The inverse, or the reciprocal of it also works. So you can say sine of A over A is equal to sine of B over B. Since it's a proportion, the reciprocal works as well. As long as you're consistent. So either keep the signs on top or keep the signs on the bottom. So that brings us to example 1. So given 2 angles and 1 side, we have to find the remaining angle and sides. So if it gives us 2 angles, how can we find the third angle? Add them up and subtract it from 180, because we know all 3 angles in our triangle add up to 180. So if it gives us 2, we can just subtract them from 180. You will need a calculator, yes. So 102.3 plus 28.7 is 130. So then 180 minus 130 would be, it's 131. Yep, 131. So 180 minus 131 is 49. So that we didn't even need to use any formula to solve, because we know all 3 angles add up to 180. Now to find the rest, we have to use the law of sines. So we always want to start with the pair that was given to us. So we have angle B and side B that was given. So I want to start with that. So I'm going to start there to set up my proportion. So I have the side B, so 27.4 over sine of the angle, so sine of 28.7. And then that's equal to, I can either find A or C. So which one do you guys want to find first? Sure, let's find C. So if I'm finding side C, I have to use angle C. So C over sine of 102.3. So solve this however you would for C. There's a few different ways that we can. We could cross multiply, or you can multiply both sides by sine of 102.3. So it'll cancel out on the right side. So I get sine is equal, or C is equal to sine of 102.3 times 27.4 over sine of 28.7. Be careful in putting this into your calculator. If you do it all at once, make sure you put parentheses. So you got a lot of things going on here. Be careful when putting this all in your calculator. I would probably do one step at a time, like sine of 102.3, press enter, then multiply it, enter, then divide. So C is 55.7 what? Feet. Awesome, because side lengths were given to us in feet, so I have to put feet.
You got 55.7?
Yes. So that's C. Last thing I want to do is find A. So here it's recommended that you use the pair that was given. So I'm going to use B again to set up my proportion. I could use C, but just in case that I got I messed something up when putting this into my calculator and this C is wrong, that would automatically make A wrong if the C was wrong. So use what was given for your next one also. So I'm going to set up the same proportion. I have the side, so 27.4 over sine of 28.7 is equal to, now I'm using A, so I'm using the pair of A's. So side A.
Could you just use whichever? Like, do you have to use A, or could you use C or J?
Well, I already found C, now I have to find A, so I'm going to use A.
I know, but you can't use C to find B2.
Like I said, you could use C, but it's recommended to use B since this was given to us and this was given to us. There's a possibility that when I found C, I did something wrong in my calculator. So you could use C. You'll get the same thing if you use C, if C is right. But just in the off chance that you did something wrong here, it's recommended to use the ones that are given. So we have A over sine of 49. So I'm going to multiply both sides by sine of 49. So it'll cancel there. I have A is equal to 27.4 times sine of 49 over sine of 28.7. Then I put this into the calculator. And then this is in feet. So it gave us three things, and then we found the missing angle, the missing side, and the other missing side. So when we have two sides and one angle that are given, so two sides and one opposite angle, we have to check for the ambiguous case. So when it gives us this, it's a possibility that we could have no triangles, one triangle, or two triangles going on. So anytime it gives us two sides and one opposite angle, we have to check for the ambiguous case. And I'll show you how to check once we get there. So let's look at example 2. Example 2, we're given two angles and one side. So is it possible to have the ambiguous case here? No, because the ambiguous case only happens when it's two sides and one angle. So we're going to use our triangle here, and we have to find how tall is the pole. So we're looking for side A. So what can I do first? Awesome. We know angle B is going to be 98 degrees because it's 90 plus 8. There's a question like this that's super similar in your web assign where you just have to add the tilt to it. Do I know what angle C is? Awesome. Add them and subtract from 180. So I have 43 plus 98. 141. So 39 degrees is C. All right, now I'm trying to find side A. So I know I have to use angle A in my proportion. And then do I have a pair that I have both the side and the angle? I have C. I have angle C and I have side C. So I have 22 over sine of 39 is equal to what? A over sine of 43. So I'm going to multiply both sides by sine of 43. So it'll cancel out there. So I have A is equal to 22 times sine of 43 divided by sine of 39. Now I just put this into the calculator. So this is 23.8. What? feet. And then we could set up a proportion to find B also if it told us to solve the triangle, because then we have to find everything. But this question just asks, how tall is the pool? So that's just A. This slide just explains a little bit more of the ambiguous case. So in the ambiguous case, we can either have no triangles, one triangle, or two triangles. So here, it gives us two sides and one angle. So is the ambiguous case a possibility? Yeah. Yes. So I'm going to have to check at the end. So I'm just going to make a little note for myself here to check. So first thing I do is solve normally. Do I have a pair, either A's, B's, C's, that I can set up my proportion with? I have the A's, so I have angle A and side A. So I'm going to do 22 over sine of 42 is equal to what?
B.
So I have to use B because I have nothing given for C. So I'm going to have to use B's to find angle B. 12 over sine of B. Now I'm trying to find an angle. So B's on the bottom. I'm going to cross multiply here. So I have 22 times sine of B is equal to 12 times sine of 42. And then I would just divide both sides by 22. So I'm going to put this into my calculator. So sine of B is equal to 0.3649.
Oh, you wouldn't do it like that, you don't want to round it?
Not yet. Because do I know what angle B is?
No.
No, I know what the sine of angle B is. But I could work backwards and find what angle B is by taking the inverse of this. So in your calculator, you have sine of -1. So you're going to do the inverse button. So it's not sine times -1, it's the inverse. So it should be like shift sine, it should be right above it. So sine -1 of 0.3649.
21.4.
So you want to round it to a whole number because you have other angles?
Let's round it to one decimal place. So what do we get? 21.4 degrees. So angle B is 21.4 degrees. Now how can I find angle C?
Same thing.
Add it all up to 180.
Add up all the angles.
Add up the angles and subtract it from 180. So I have 42 plus 21.4, which is 63.4, and subtract that from 180.
116.
So I get 116.6. Now, what proportions should I set up to find side C?
Over sine or C over sine.
So I can have C over
Sine
sine of
116.
116, but what's it going to be equal to?
22 over sine 42.
Perfect. I'm going to use the set of A's because A's were both given to me to start. So 22 over sine of 42. Since C is on the top, I'm going to multiply both sides by sine of 116.6. So it'll cancel out on the left. So C is equal to 22 times sine of 116.6 over sine of 42. So what do you get for C? 29.4 inches. Perfect, because these were given to us in inches. All right, so now that we solved everything in our triangle, we have to go back to what we said originally, and we have to check. So we have to check and make sure that we don't have more than one triangle. So the way we check is we can make a little chart over here. We have triangle 1 and triangle 2. The angles are what really tells us if we have a second triangle or not. So I'm going to start with what's given. So in triangle 1, which is the one we just found, angle A was given to us, which is 42 degrees. So that's going to be the same in 2. So angle A is 42 degrees. And then the next thing on our list is the first angle that we found. So what was the first angle that I found?
B.
I found B first. I found B and then just subtracted that to find C. So B was what I found first. So B was what? 21.4 degrees. Now, in our second triangle, our second angle B would be the supplement of B. So I'm going to take 180 and subtract 21.4. So what's 180 minus 21.4? What is it? 158.6.
What is this telling us, like, what we have?
We might have 2 triangles, so we have to check. So this is the way we check.
Why did you leave A?
Because A was given, so it's going to be the same in both triangles.
How do we know if we have 2 triangles?
We're checking.
I know, but like, what would we see? Like, if we had...
I'll show you. So what's 42 plus 158.6? 200.6. Is it possible for me to have a triangle where 2 angles add up to something over 180? No. So this is not a second triangle. So we only have 1 triangle here. So that's the way we check. It will happen sometimes where the second angle and the first angle add up to something less than 180. And then you solve it the same way you did the first triangle, but you just have to find the other ones that it didn't give us. So you'd have to find a new C and a new angle C.
And you would want us to give you guys a second one.
So if it has a second triangle, give me all the information for the second triangle too. All right, example 4. So here it gives us 2 sides and 1 angle. So 2 sides and 1 angle, there's a possibility that we have the ambiguous case, so we have to check at the end. So always make a note to check at the end if you have 2 sides and 1 angle. So do I have a pair of angle and side that are the same, that go together? I have A's. So I'm going to take 15 over sine of 85 and set that equal to, what do I have to find first? B, because it gives me B. So 25 over sine of B.
Are you always using sine?
Yes, because it's the law of sines, so that's just the formula. So here, since sine of B is on the bottom, I want to cross multiply to solve. So I have 15 times sine of B is equal to 25 times sine of 85. And then I can divide both sides by 15. And I'm going to put this into my calculator.
1.7.
But 1.66 is not our final answer, so what I was explaining to Paloma is keep as many decimal places as possible until you get to your final answer and then round there. So what do I have to do next? The inverse. So sine of -1 of 1.66. What do you get when you put this in your calculator? Error. So what do you think my answer is if I get an error?
I didn't get an error.
Nothing, you did it wrong.
Then there's no triangles here. So no triangle. So this is an ambiguous case where we have no solution. There's no triangle.
And you're done?
Yep.
So for Webis,
All right, so the last thing we're going to do is the area of an oblique triangle. So to find the area, you have this formula, or this one, or this one. So these 3 formulas are your area formulas. They're all the same. It just depends on which ones that it gives you. So if it gives you side B and C and angle A, you would use this one. But if it gives you side A and B and angle C, you use this one. So they're all the same. On your quiz, which is Friday, the formulas will be given to you.
Wait, what is it on just 6.1 or?
And 6.2. So the formulas will be given to you. The area and law of sines. All right, so example 6 gives us side A, side B, and angle C. So I'm going to use the formula that's 1/2 times A times B times sine of C. So here we got kind of lucky that it gave us everything that we need for this formula. So I'm just going to plug it in. If it didn't give us everything, then we can use our law of sines or something like that to find what we're missing. So I have 1/2 times 90 times 52 times sine of 102. And then we put this into the calculator.
Do you have to do it in like that order?
It doesn't have to be in this order. If you want to, you can say 90 times 52 times sine of 102 divided by 2. So when multiplying, it doesn't matter the order. So I got 2,288.9. And what unit of measure would this be?
Feet squared.
Meter?
Yeah, you're right. It's meter, sorry.
Meters what?
Squared.
Squared, because it's area. So because it's area, it has to be squared.